really don't want white folks watching this because I'm like, I don't want y'all to know our secrets. Like, it was a little too real. It was like, this for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of
white
good.
people don't watch this.
Don't watch this. This not for
don't
you.
even watch this
not for you.
podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Zoe.
And this is Kai.
And we are
more than a film.
We're more than just a film.
We're more than a film, more than a film.
More than a film. Where we have serious
And unserious
conversations about film
and other things.
Okay, they clone Tyrone. Take 2, Mark. Okay, we're here. Oh, my bad.
No.
We're here to talk about the best movie of the summer of the year.
Yeah. So, y'all, we just watched They Clone Tyrone.
They Clone Tyrone.
And you'll find out we're baby hoe temps. So, this really gave us everything that we needed.
Yes, I felt really affirmed by this movie. Yes, really affirmed. That's like for myself and for my family. Like, you know, like niggas be on conspiracy theories.
Oh my,
like,
wait. Tell me what your grandpa was talking about again.
Yes, well, I had just visited my mom's hometown this past weekend, and my uncle had picked us up from the airport. And, you know, he was talking about how Jamie Foxx was a clone. Like, Jamie Foxx is a clone, and you couldn't tell him otherwise. He was talking about how 9/11 is not real. Like, and, you know, I'm not going to get into that one. But, you know, I was right there with him. He was kind of schooling me. He was talking just about a lot of shit, and, you know, conspiracy theories are a real thing in the black community, but it's like it don't come from nowhere. And I love that They Clone Tyrone. It wasn't a big gaslight. It was actually like, you're right. You're on to something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You may not be on to the exact right thing, but you on to something. So keep going. So yeah.
What's your biggest conspiracy theory?
Oh, I gotta think about that one.
I definitely back in the day, because Gucci got out of jail when I was like in middle school, like early high school, I think maybe. I thought he was clone too. I can't lie. I thought he was clone. He started changing his life around. The music was sounding different. I was like, they got my nigga. Like, they didn't free him.
Shit, right a bit. Like, I'm trying to think of one. It's just so many. Because, I mean, They Clone Tyrone was so real because it was like, it's in the chicken. It's in everything. Like, honestly, everything is a conspiracy. Like, that's my biggest conspiracy. I don't trust nothing. I don't trust nothing that comes from them. You know? I don't trust nothing. Yeah. So, maybe my biggest thing is always I'm always talking about a they or a them. Like, who the fuck is they? Like,
That's every black person
that
ever.
really is every black person.
It's always they wanna. You know what's crazy? Because I started working, and I like work with a lot of white people now, and like I'm always like, you know, they trying to do. They don't say stuff like that. They be like, who?
Who is that? Who are you talking about? I'm talking about they. You don't know who they is? The system. And that's like, I don't gotta explain that. Like, yeah, I'm always talking about a they. Like, we always talk about a they.
That's not even a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's not even a conspiracy. It's real. I mean, it's real.
Because they be trying to hold us back.
They do be trying to hold us back. They do.
I don't know who they is, but when I find they ass,
I'm gonna get them. Like, that is so true. That is so true. They clone Tyrone. They,
because who is they?
Tyrone. They is they. You know who is they. You know who they is. Exactly.
And they be looking too much alike to even say who.
So, and that's what They Clone Tyrone really did get into that. All them white people with them afros and mustache. They are clones too.
Exactly.
Not just us. They are clones too.
Exactly.
They clone Tyrone.
Period.
Wow. Okay. No, they did something. We did something with this movie for real. We versus they.
It's always we.
It's always we when it's some good shit. That's another thing about niggas. Right? It's always we. Like, no, you was not over there.
You was not fucking nobody.
You wasn't even fucking with it at first. Like,
no, because okay, no disrespect to my ancestors and stuff like that, but you know how like grandparents and like aunties and stuff that was back in the civil rights time, like, yeah, and we had to fight. Baby, you was working at the post office. You was you was not marching on nobody. Show me the picture.
No, that's so funny. I'm sorry, family. I love y'all. I might be throwing y'all in this podcast. No, I love my family down, but like I remember, and it's just so funny because I remember when we was at my cousin's house and we was all just like, you know, chilling in the room, and I don't know how we got to this conversation, but we wanted to ask like my grandmother if like, you know, who did we like, you know, did we come from slaves, or like did we like, you know, did we have slavery, and like, or like did we have were our ancestors enslaved? And we had asked her, and she was like, no, what the fuck? Like, she was like sick. Like, she was sick about it. And I understand, but it's like, wait, why are you sick about it? So it's just so funny.
Because
like,
because my family the same way, my Jamaican side. Mm-hmm. Look at me. You see how I look. Mm-hmm. Right. So they was telling us how, like, we found our family history back, like, 5-6 generations. I don't know, past. But basically, we're kind of related to this white man who helped kind of found Jamaica, like, colonized it, basically, right? And my aunt, I'm not going to throw her, I'm not going to say her name.
I know, we just, I'm sorry, we love y'all.
But she was like, you see, this is why we look the way we look. And I tell you, we're not slaves. We're from the people who started this country. And I'm like, look at us. Look at me. I'm from a slave, babe.
I'm from a slave. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Like, and that's the thing that get me. Because, you know, everybody want to be like, you know, yeah, it's like, you're not from a slave. But it's like, no, that's the true thing. That's the true thing about this. But it's not that it's bad. Like, it's not like those people were bad. Like, that you come from bad people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I think that's where it gets fucked up, because we don't know how to acknowledge it in a right way, rightfully so, you know, like acknowledge that history.
Because I mean, when I was a kid, and I was first learning about slavery, like I was ashamed, because I was like, dang, like my ancestors didn't fight back, stuff like that. But then I think about slavery, so many people died during slavery. So we're really the strongest of the strongest that was able to survive something.
We still here.
Exactly.
We still here. And that is a amazing thing in itself. Like, you know, like you look at a black person right now, I'm looking at you like, bitch, they was trying to annihilate us.
Exactly.
We was not supposed to be here. We was kings. Like, we was not supposed to be here. So if you see a black person right now, yes, they come from a slave, and that's okay. Like, that's something to be proud about, in my opinion. But, you know, we went to a school. We went to a school called Imhotep in Atlanta. I'm not lying.
I am.
Look it up.
H-O-T-E-P. You spell that
Look
out.
it up.
And you see.
We was saying the national black anthem instead of the Star Spangled Banner every morning. Okay, they taught us we was kings, and that's not nothing to be ashamed about. So, shout out to my black people. We still here. You know, we still here, and they couldn't kill us.
Period.
You know.
Period.
So.
Okay, maybe we should get into the movie.
Yeah, let's get into the movie. This is a perfect segue though.
Okay, so break down the movie real quick. So, y'all watch the movie. Come back. If you ain't watched the movie, come back, watch the movie, then watch this.
Please watch it.
So, in the movie, basically, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. We in the hood. We following this dude named Fontaine. He a drug dealer. He trying to go out and get his money because he been shorted. He goes out, tries to get his money, gets killed. Next day, we following Fontaine again, but he done got killed. So
How was he there?
people are like, nigga, Fontaine, you just died yesterday. How are you still here? So he's investigating the situation too, because he like, what the fuck? He find out there's a whole secret lab underneath the town where they've been doing experiments on black people. And he's been cloned. And yeah, let's get into, I forgot, I just want to get into like, just the way they set the scene in the movie. Because I seen a tweet, this wasn't my my thoughts, but I seen a tweet and this girl was like, I loved how when they cloned Tyrone, we didn't really know what the time period was. Like, we just knew we was in the hood.
We knew we was in the hood, and we was in we just knew that it existed. Like, we didn't know the time, we didn't know the place, but we knew it was a black city with, it was a black city, a majority black city. That's what we knew.
In the South, too, because they had
South,
Southern accents. But, yeah, they was driving some people was driving old school. Some people was having flip phones. They was talking about Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was all over the place, which I think was a great detail. Because when you don't know where it is, you think it's everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you don't have no specific details about where a place is, like, it's just like, this could be anywhere, this could be at any time, because it's all the time and it's everywhere, you know?
Period.
So, yeah.
And I also think, too, like, you got to do that with black people, because us, if you be too specific, and I knew that was going on in Atlanta, and that's why I never go there.
Then we turn it against, like, you know?
Because I tell, every time I go to Atlanta, I seen something like that, and I knew it was, so you got to be a little, so people don't start separating themselves.
Yeah, it was really a brilliant way to set the story, because in itself, like, Fontaine or Tyrone, they weren't necessarily specific until they found, like, you know, until they found out that they weren't, you know? To me, it was kind of like the process of, like, coming to grips with your situation. Like, you know, like, that's kind of how I looked at the entire movie. Like, okay, like, that's why I said it's so real. Like, even if this specific situation wasn't happening, like, we all sort of know that process of, like, oh, I'm a clone. Like, you know, like, there's been certain situations I think I can kind of pinpoint maybe, like, around, like, 10th and 11th grade, when I kind of, like, I feel like, not just that situation, but where I feel like, okay, like, I'm literally not being myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and why is that? And then you start getting deep, and then you just start getting lost. But then you get found. But, yeah.
I feel like, did you ever go through that period in, like, middle school, like, where you were trying so hard not to be everybody else that you was going a little too far in the opposite direction? Like, I was listening to Lana Del Rey, and I love Lana Del Rey down.
That's so real.
But it was like you were trying to a little too hard to be different, not be like every other girl.
And then you start, I listen to white music too.
Right.
Bitch, no, you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Real.
So we get into it, right? Oh, wait. Can I just talk about the first shot? Maybe I'll be able to insert it. But I love that first shot because I feel like it gives a great, and I'm talking about the shot where they're in front of the corner store and there's two cars and there's two dudes and they're talking and the little boy rolls up and we have all these people in this frame and we have the two cars and they're like making kind of a frame within a frame and all this stuff is going on at the same time. And I just love how hectic that shot is because it really sets a scene on how hectic and how fast paced just being around black people is. Like, we always got something going on. We always doing a lot. We always doing the most, which is great. I love that about us too. But also too, it's like we got so much going on that you don't got time to think about nothing. You don't got time to think hard.
And because you don't got time to think, that's when they pounce on your ass. Because there's just so much going on. And yeah, they set that shit up real good. Because it was like, then it started on the window of the convenience store where it was like the keep them smiling, and then it just pulled back out and it just showed you know, who they supposed to keep smiling. And
that it said that.
it was like, even if homeboy who was selling the what's his name, the artist CDs, like he was like, I got that new I forget the artist in the movie's name, but
I think it was Ruckus.
Yeah, I got that new Ruckus. Oh no, they was talking about, oh no, this shit was brilliant, because they was talking about how he had saw Michael Jackson at the supermarket down the street. Like, and niggas was like, nah, nigga, you ain't seen Michael Jackson. But he was like, yeah, I saw Michael Jackson, like, you know, and he very well could have saw Michael Jackson. You get to the end of the movie, you like, oh, he could have very well seen Michael Jackson, because that nigga could have been cloned. And so he was talking real shit the whole time. But okay, it's conspiracy theory. Yeah. It's some good shit. This movie is good.
Also, too, like we were going back to when you were saying keep them smiling, like just the fact that they was putting powder in the chicken to make everybody laugh and chuck and jive when they ate the chicken. They was putting something inside the communion in the grape juice to make people at church, you know, they praising the Lord. And let's get into that, the church scene, when they was praising the Lord and stuff like that. And they was like, we don't care if, I don't know, he was like, DeQuante got killed by the cops. And we don't care. God. You can't feed your family. Like, the Lord will fix it. And it's like,
fix it.
That's, mind you, I love God. You know what I'm saying? I believe in God and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of times,
Say it.
I feel like they definitely use Christianity to hold, like, keep, like, they used Christianity during slavery. You know, that was the only thing that we could go to was church on Sunday. So I feel like they definitely use Christianity to keep us complacent.
It's a tool. It's a tool of enslavement. And if they would use God, if they would use God against your ass, know that they're gonna use some chicken. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is actually that's the craziest shit. Use religion against somebody to enslave somebody, you know. And it's crazy to even say, because even, like, you know, that hesitation where it's like, you know, I love God, but if I'm being real, like, you know, this, you got to come to your own interpretation of all of this, because what is fed to you may not be, it's not made in your image, you know. It's actually made against you. So
exactly,
it's a crazy existence, like, you know.
Yeah, because if you say, oh, God gonna fix it, or you don't ever have somebody to blame, and that's what they don't want you to blame nobody. They don't want you to
blame yourself.
Exactly. Or even, you know what I thought was so crazy? I wrote this in my note, actually. The perm situation too. So they was putting stuff in the chicken. They was making them chuck and jive. The church, the communion juice was making them, you know, just say, oh, God gonna fix everything. Like, we praising the Lord. Everything is great, basically. And then the perm, which I thought was just mind-blowing to me.
Mind-blowing.
That didn't make them people happy at all. They put the perm in their hair, and all of a sudden,
maybe I'm tripping.
Maybe I'm overreacting. Now we're being gaslit.
Yeah.
The black women are being gaslit.
That was, when that scene came on, I was like, okay, like, I really do wonder what the perm is gonna do.
Yeah.
When that came on, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, it's so real.
Cause you know what, too? I thought when I seen the perm thing, I hate when people be too hard on black women about their hair, because I feel like at the end of the day, we got to get up, and it takes us, literally, Kai filmed me one time doing my hair. It took me an hour to put my hair in 2 ponytails. Like, we got to do this shit every day.
We got like 100 shots.
Exactly. Like, it literally takes
effort.
It's effort and it's work. So I was like, damn, like, they're going to go in a situation where it's like, we're trying to perm our hair, or like, we're trying to be like the white man, da-da-da-da. But no, they went in a situation where it was gaslighting us and making us more complacent in our situation and making us feel like the angry black woman. And that trope as a whole, when people be like, oh, I don't want to be seen as the angry black woman, I don't want to be seen, like Solange said, I got a lot to be mad about.
I got a lot to be mad about. And it's such a where you're gaslit about your anger. Like, constantly. Like,
Exactly.
you learn not to trust yourself. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're always fucking right. Like, let's talk about Yo-Yo. Like, even though you're always fucking right.
Always right.
Oh my gosh, Black women are always right. Like, you know, I mean, we be wrong sometimes. I'm not even gonna say it. We always right. We always right about something.
Period.
About something. We always right about something.
One of us is right.
One of us is right.
Well, maybe two. Maybe a couple stragglers that be wrong a little bit.
But it's just something right about us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you're always right and you're gaslit to say you're wrong, you're always wrong. It's like, where does that leave you? That just leave, oh, maybe I'm tripping. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're living in something that is completely true. And you're feeling the effects of this system. You're feeling the effects of this system completely. Like, you know what I'm saying? But everyone is telling you, oh, it's not the system. It's actually you. It's actually you. It's actually you. That is like, you start going crazy, you know, rightfully so. So, yeah.
I thought that was powerful. And then, yeah, I guess we can get into Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah. So not only did Fontaine try to get to the bottom of it, so he was on his way to figure out getting to the bottom of it, and he called up Yo-Yo because she seen what happened. And he was like, hey, Yo-Yo, what happened? So she was there, and then the pimp was there, who was Jamie Foxx. I forgot his name in the movie. So all three of them are on this little Nancy Drew quest. A hoe, she was a prostitute, a drug dealer, and a pimp to see what is going on with this lab in this situation. And so they get to a point, and this is what was very powerful to me, so that's where I'm going to start at. When they get to a point where they've seen too much, they've seen the lab downstairs, and they're trying to tell everybody, and especially Yo-Yo, she's trying to tell everybody. So she go upstairs to the strip club, and she's trying to let them know. And they also were controlling people through the music. So the music has them... They put this music on to make all the Black people turn into zombies, basically. So the music has them trying to attack them, stuff like that. And then one of the main white people, hunchos, he comes in, and he basically, when they're going to attack the white man, he's like, I can mind control y'all too. And he mind controls Fontaine and the pimp, but he don't mind control Yo-Yo. Because he felt like he didn't even have to. He felt like all you got to do is control the Black man, and the Black woman will follow. Like, we're just not seen as, you know what, that's actually period. Anything. We're just not seen. We're anything. Exactly.
When in the end, without Yo-Yo, none of this shit would have even.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, oh, yeah.
And that's crazy to me because, what were you going to say?
No, I was saying Fontaine and Jamie, the pimp, they wanted to quit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they were scared, rightfully so. They were scared. Yo-Yo had to kind of get them back into it. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, it was crazy. That is a crazy realization when you just realize that, you know, you're not even seen as a threat.
Exactly. You're not even like.
But honestly, it could also be our greatest power at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, which it was.
It was.
Which it was. It was.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Damn, I done lost my train of thought. But it's crazy to me because it's like you're not even seen as somebody. I feel like there's so many things that control Black women outside of just. It's not even so many things. Misogyny also controls Black women.
Right.
So we don't even have to get to the racism part because the misogyny part is going to do the work for us. I feel like that's why they didn't even do the racist mind control stuff to them, because it's like, as long as you control the niggas already are trying to control the women. So the misogyny go ahead and do the job. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah. And it's this movie really talks about intersectionality in a really like, you could tell, I think you could tell like the director, his name is Jules, really loves like black women in a way. Not even in a way, just loves black women, because it really spoke to how those both of those sides, race and gender, like when you have to hold both of those in one body, like, you know, the experience is completely different, you know. Exactly. And it's heavier, you know. And he didn't just talk about one without ignoring one. He talked about both of them, and class too, but all three of them, you know. And that's what Yo-Yo and all the other black women in the movie were dealing with. And like you said, it's like they look at it as, oh, you can control the man, you control the women. It's more of an empathy thing in a way, you know what I'm saying? Because I think Yo-Yo was moving off of empathy in the first place, you know what I'm saying? Because she could have really went about her shit, because she didn't see herself cloned.
Right.
She wasn't cloned. It was the pimp and it was Fontaine who were cloned. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she really could have went about her shit, but she didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even I don't even necessarily think it's a control thing. Like, I want to steer a little clear from that, because it's like, it's more of an empathy thing, but it turns into a control to where it's like she can't not do this. She can't not put her life on the line. She can't not, like, you know, go about this cause, you know? And it's just, I just love how he could talk about all three of those things in one person. And,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You did a really great job of writing her, because not only was she a hoe, a prostitute, but she could write. She was a little Nancy Drew. Right. Like, she had her little Nancy Drew book. She wrote her article. She was about to send it to the Post. And just multifaceted. And that's another thing that we can get into about how the white people thought, okay, as long as we keep all the people chucking and driving, keep them doing the same thing, keep them going to the same church, getting the same hairstyle, listening to the same music, they will be, you know, we'll be able to control them, keep them in the hood, keep them in the same place. But what they don't realize about black people is that we're multifaceted, and we can, just like me, like, I can listen to Lil Baby, and I can listen to Erykah Badu, or I can listen to Lauryn Hill, someone like that. Like, just because I'm one way, like, there will be times I will be talking to, I'm thinking I'm talking to the most ignorant nigga in the world, and then we really get into stuff, and I'm like, okay, he telling me stuff, he schooling me on stuff, but it's also like, we don't be having the time to even resist that. We just be stuck in the same place.
It's like I think it boils down to a survival thing, to where it's like, it's always a question of survival. Even, it was always a question of survival the whole time. Like, it was like, if you resist it, you're going to die. If you go through the system, and that's what I really want to talk about, is I think it really talked a lot about going through a system. You know how people say, okay, you can kill it from the inside. Like, I'm going to just go inside and I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be a police and I'm going to better the force. Like, no, you're not. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think it really had good, like, it was talking real good about killing it from the inside. But it was like really a survival thing, because it's like, whatever way you look, like, your life is not yours. Like, you're not in control of your life. You know what I'm saying? And, like, but black people, like, are multifaceted, you know? You could never kill us. That's why they try so hard, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you could never, but what you can do is control us. Yes. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can keep us complacent. Yeah.
You can keep us
through the music.
Still.
Yeah, be still.
Yeah, because old dudes, so they got OG Fontaine, the original Fontaine, to help them out to figure out the clones. And what he was trying to do was figure out a way to clone people into being white. Yes. So that they don't go through the thing of, getting killed by drug dealers and getting killed, but keeping the peace in America by assimilating. But at the end of the day, that's still death. Like you were saying, like killing culture as a whole is still death. Like I feel like Black culture isn't all bad. Like we're not all guns and drugs and money, and we do have our collective joy and we do dance differently and we do all of that. But it's the overdoing it. It's the, this is the only one way to be. It's the not finding room to do both,
Like, where does that balance exist? Because it was like his whole saying, old Fontaine at the end, when we end up finding out the controller, even though he wasn't actually the controller of this project, I think he was still even just a symbol. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was, when we get to the end, when we find out who's heading this project is a Black man who is another clone of Fontaine, another clone of him, but just an older version. Well, no, he wasn't.
He was the OG.
He was the OG. He wasn't even a clone. He started
the clones.
Yeah, he started the clones, and his whole saying was, "Assimilation is better than annihilation." And he really believed that by doing this whole thing, he was saving his people. Like he was doing what's best, and that's what's scary to me because it's like, especially as someone like, both of us sort of in these when you try to move through these systems, it's like you can get lost and you can start believing that what you're doing is helping people, like helping, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? You're really still just a symbol. Like Amiri Baraka, he there's this speech that he did where he was talking about how the Black middle class like sort of has a choice because they really function as functionaries for the ruling class. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you not working class, but you not ruling nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you really here to really just tell the working class what's best for them. Like, okay, capitalism is what's best for you. Just sit down. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll listen to you because you a symbol, because you look like them. You know what I'm saying? But you're not really doing nothing. You're really causing more harm. And that's scary because it's like you can move through a system and you can really forget who you are. Because it's not like old Fontaine didn't experience all those things that, Fontaine was doing. He is him. Like they're both the same person, but they exist on this different mindset. And I think when I was weary because when Jamie Foxx's character even came up with the idea to, okay, this is what we're going to do. You going to go through the system directly. I was like, oh, shit, this shit not going to work. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, they're going to kill him. And I just feel like it's not going to work because I just don't know how you can move through the system and still stay alive, But I think they broke it down well because it's like Fontaine had to be able to separate himself from old Fontaine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like just because your physical body stays there does not mean that you don't die. Because OG,
let's talk about it. Ooh, that's a word.
Because OG Fontaine and a young Fontaine are two completely different people. Yeah. And you could see somebody like look at Kanye. Like, look at how he started. Look at how he's ended up. And, of course, he's seen a lot more than we have seen. And he be around they.
He be around they.
And he be around the they that we are talking about. And I feel like a part of you dies when you have to navigate those type of spaces.
But how do you... it's just, that's so true. But it's like, do you feel like this movie answered the question of how you stay alive? You know what I'm saying? Because it's crazy because it's like, we have to, in a way, we have to navigate it. Or else you don't have to navigate it. You don't have to navigate it. I think you can always go around. You know what I'm saying? But it's like...
You know what the end really gave me hope of?
What?
But it's crazy because I don't think it's going to happen. But there's just the collective resistance of when the hood niggas banded together and they freed they niggas.
Yeah.
Like, if we stopped being complacent and we just had collective resistance, it could change. Because they, at the end of the day, they did free the people. They did free the people in Glen.
But how do we get to that?
And they were still themselves.
How do we get to that collective resistance then? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it could happen. Because if it's in a movie, it can happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I can get into it why this one didn't have the whole theatrical run that the other movies did. And that, you know, why it had a little something. But it's #1 on Netflix, but which is good. But it didn't have the same push, you know what I'm saying? It didn't have the same push, which is in a way it's still good, because I'm like, I really don't want white folks watching this, because I'm like, I don't want y'all to know our secrets. Like, it was a little too real. It was like, this for us, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of
white people don't watch this.
Don't watch this.
Don't even watch this podcast.
It's not for you. Like, you know, so, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I feel like if there was a way where we could get all these theaters, and maybe they was thinking about this at the same way, because it's like, if we could get all these theaters full of just all black people just watching this shit, like watching They Clone Tyrone, and then like coming out, having these conversations, like, you know what I'm saying? They're aware, like we're having this conversation with each other, like this is happening on this level, like it could happen, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's impossible. It's just like, how do we get to that in this like real world that we're living in, you know?
I don't know. We
gotta stop eating the chicken.
We need the OGs to come together. We need the drug dealers to come together. They need to tie the flags. But you know what's crazy? When the old boy died and we was having damn, I'm sorry. I need to remember his name. When George Floyd died and we was coming together and we was burning shit down. And you know what white people did? They say, you know what? We gonna go ahead and give them, what did they give us?
What the fuck did they give us? Because I don't know. All the shit that they gave us is gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even name. We gonna give them this so they can shut up.
Exactly.
But, you know, that's so, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
But if we would have just continued, but you know what I'm saying?
But you know what it may be, though? It may be a knowing what it is, like knowing exactly what it is we need to be fighting against, and you know what I'm saying, because they had they knew their enemy, like in They Clone Tyrone, they knew their enemy was in the chicken, they knew it was in the perm, they knew it was in the church, they knew what it was, and they knew that they were clones. You know, I feel like now it's like we don't even know. And it's also like, it's confusing. It was still confusing in there because they were clones. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then like you end up, you know, getting to Fontaine ended up seeing that the person who ran it is still a clone of himself. You know what I'm saying? So it's in the end, it's still confusing. But even in real life, it's like, I feel like we don't know. We know the enemies, but we can't.
They're they.
Can't pinpoint it. They're they. That's the whole thing. They're they. They're everywhere. But where are they? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But even the fact that we're having this conversation, you know what I'm saying? And we're connecting it to our lived experience. You know, I think the movie was very successful because, it was very successful.
For sure. I think it was successful. Now, how do we actually get this going in real life? I don't know.
Let's get into it, because I'm like, I don't even necessarily believe that we all got to be out there, that we all have to be out there. We all got to be doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
sure,
I'm going to be, like, you know what I'm saying? I do it through art. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not that I'm just not physically using my body, you know what I'm saying, outside. But it's like, at the end of the day, I still do believe I want to be out there now. Like, I'm going to be out there. I need to add to the bodies, because it's like, we need numbers. It's power in numbers, and it's power in knowing who you're fighting against, what you're fighting against, and being together on a collective front, you know? So, yeah.
And I don't want the race war to happen. But if it does, I'll be, you know, bringing some bandages, ice packs, things like that. I'm not finna be on the front lines, babe.
Well, you're going to be on the front lines, though. You're going to be, but you're going to, No, but you're naturally gonna be on the front lines. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah,
How
like
you tell me I'm gonna be on the front line?
If the race war happens, you walk outside, you naturally gonna be on the front lines because I feel like because your color is like whose side you're on. What? Not your color.
Call me a field nigga. No.
Bitch, I'm a field nigga too.
Exactly.
Our color, we walk outside, we're black. Like, you know what I'm saying?
True,
You look at me, I'm
true.
black. You know whose side I'm on.
They gonna be wanting to fight us.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you on the front line anyway.
Yeah.
If you don't even if you don't know it, babe.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I see what you're saying in terms of like, all right, I'm gonna be like, you good?
Yes. You want some water?
Chill. I'm doing it through my art.
You want a picture? You want a poem?
No, because I'm scared. I'm over here.
Gonna be reciting poems.
Don't gather around. No, for real. No. But honestly, I'm scared. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, but it's like, you know, Yo-Yo and Fontaine and them, they was
Yeah,
scared. But they still did it, though. But
For sure.
we are. Let me stop putting on the
Shout
front.
out to Yo-Yo.
Yeah, shout out to Yo-Yo. Shoot. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at my notes. Let me see what else I said. Oh, also I want to talk about how black people play too much.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that elevator scene.
Yes.
So they going down to the lab. They about to fight these white people, and they talking about something. I'm going down, and yeah, we play too much.
We play too much.
But we need to. I feel like that's the only thing that's gonna. We need a little bit of that cognitive dissonance. Dissonance, is that the word? Dissonance. Yes. We need some of that just to even fight. You know.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's true. That's a good way to put it, because it's like if you're not disconnected from, maybe if you're not disconnected from the possibility of death, of like the real like, you know what I'm saying, the real situation you're in. You know what I'm saying? You not going to go. You're like, that's when the fear comes, I think.
Exactly. But you know what's so crazy?
What?
I'm sorry. Do you want to finish your thought? Finish your thought.
Because I was just going to say, if you're not disconnected from the possibility of death, like, and black people, I think that we, you were about to say the same thing. What were you about to say?
We have shooters.
Yeah.
Our niggas are disconnected from death.
But
living really be out there.
But living in it,
but shooting each other, though.
But when you say disconnected from death, it's like we don't really feel what you supposed to feel.
Yeah, we don't have that fear. I mean,
Because
I personally have a little bit more fear than some people, but I know it's some people out there that like they don't have that fear.
But it's because we see it.
We're desensitized.
It's the it's a desensitization that's happening. So then, okay, maybe we just answered our little question that we had earlier when we were like, you know, what's that balance between being completely disconnected from what's happening and actually fighting? You know what I'm saying? Actually, like, you know, knowing, because there's a okay, you're completely disconnected, you're completely unaware, and then okay, you're aware, you're mad all the time, you're angry all the time, and you don't know what to do, and you know, you're always serious. There's still this like desensitization that we all have about like, you know, this what's really happening, like, you know, and if you know it and you're still desensitized, then maybe that is, I don't want to say it's a power. Like, I don't want to say,
I feel like,
because it's not supposed to be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to be desensitized to that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but at the end of the day, we
could
could be
use
used.
that.
We
We
could use it.
And that's what the hood niggas did.
For sure.
They not scared of death. They be shooting each other every day.
Exactly.
So of course they could go down to the lab and just shoot some white people. But also have you ever had a time where you were like, damn, I'm desensitized? Like,
Yeah.
time in your life?
Yeah.
I remember this one specific time. My friend, we went to her birthday dinner, right? And we wait in, and it's like on Edgewood, which is like a part of Atlanta where there's nice things on Edgewood. Like, y'all should go to Edgewood, but sometimes Edgewood be crazy, you know? And we waiting, and it's like a big glass window of the restaurant. And we looking out the window, and we in the waiting area, like where the window is. And we look out the window, and I'm seeing this dude like run down the street. And then this other dude come up and try to grab something from him. And then he try to run away. And then he gets shot. Like, he started shooting at the other dude. And we watched that. And, like, my friend whose birthday it was, because her family was right there and everything. Like, she crying. Like, we all went home. Da-da-da. I'm on my way home like, damn, but I'm hungry now still. Like, I still want to go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, of course, the situation, like, seeing somebody get shot. Excuse me. Seeing somebody get shot is, I was like, ooh, damn, that happened. But then 5 minutes later, I'm like, I still want to eat, though. Like, we still got to eat. We still got to.
We still got to eat.
We still got to go on with our lives.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, we're very desensitized.
Very desensitized.
But like you said, it could be used because it's like, you know, probably same shit with Fontaine and Yo-Yo and Jamie's character. It's like, you know, they were affected by it. It wasn't that they weren't affected by it, but it was like, all right, like you said, what do we have to do now? You know what I'm saying? Because like when they shot when they shot them in the lab, like one of them in the lab and the lab tech, and you know, they were freaking out because they had just killed someone. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Fontaine was all the way, but I think Yo-Yo and Jamie's character were like completely freaking out about it. And but it was still like, okay, what do we got to do next to survive? Like, survival is still on the mind, even though you're desensitized to what's actually happening to you. And it's just a weird, Black people are in a very specific and, like, you know, weird place, because it's like, you know what's happening. None of us don't know what's happening, I don't think. You know what I'm saying? Because you're living in it. So it's not that you can just not know. It's just, okay, it's a choice. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Are you going to do something, or are you not? But then if you do something, then it's still a question of survival. Then if you do something, it's all still a question of, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a very weird place. But I think, like you said, it can be used. Like, you know? Yeah.
So who's gonna start the resistance, y'all?
The hood niggas. Like, they're gonna start it. Like, they're going to be, they're going to be the ones. Always was gonna be the ones, probably, because, you know, always was. So, but
well, they cloned Tyrone. Let me know y'all thoughts about it.
I think we covered everything.
We really did. We covered a lot.
Yeah,
we covered a lot. Everything I said, I love white people and I love Black people and I want unity. Everything I said was a joke.
Everything, y'all. We're just playing. We just playing
to my future employers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just playing. Like, yeah.
Well, what would you rate? What would you rate the movie?
Man, it broke my scale. Like, be a mess.
To be honest, you broke my scale. Can you grow up?
It really did. Like, y'all did y'all thing for real. And I am going to be thinking about this movie for years and years and years and years and years to come. Like, really. And I think it really did. I hope it will inspire. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole point of this shit, right? Like, you know, it's entertainment, but also what's behind that entertainment. Right. And I think They Clone Tyrone covered that perfectly.
Right. Oh my gosh. I have another final thought before it goes. I loved how it turned the blaxploitation genre kind of on its head.
Yes.
I thought that was so much fun.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I just love that because blaxploitation movies are fun, but they come with the
stereotypes.
The stereotypes and the bad shit about it. But, and also too, like, hood shit in general is fun. Ignorant shit is fun. But it's like, how do we make it fun, but also make it in a way where it's not completely ignorant? I feel like They Clone Tyrone did a good job of that.
That balance.
Yeah.
The balance of, you know, not losing the fun, but, you know, we not controlled. We not complacent. We not controlled by another party.
We're not glorifying it.
Yeah, you know. But like you said, like it was fun. Like it was. It's so crazy because it was fun. It was funny to a certain point.
Yeah,
but
it was funny.
It was funny, and it was just real. Like all of that at the same time, and I feel like that's what me as a filmmaker personally. That's what I want to strive to create. Like, you know, that same feeling, because if you too far on this side and you too far on this side, you're not reaching nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not reaching nobody. And if the whole point of this shit is to reach someone, then, you know, you got to find that balance. And they Clone Tyrone did it like perfectly.
Oh yeah, it was very specific.
And it spoke directly. It was specific without being corny. Now we gonna get into the blackening.
We gotta talk about that. I like the black thing.
Okay, it was good.
I just know my mama would like that movie.
Yeah,
so
you know, it was good. It was good. But when I say it was specific without being corny, like that's a different sort of, like, you know what I'm saying? That's just a different sort of balance, I think, that they Clone Tyrone found that the blackening couldn't quite find. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that was They Clone Tyrone.
Yes. Okay.
I think it was a good episode.
It was. Like, we kind of did our thing.
Let me know y'all thoughts. Do y'all think we whole temp or not? Let us know.
Yeah, they definitely think we're whole temp. It's okay. It's okay. The real will stick around.
Right.
You know? It's a good filter, at least. So, yeah.
All right. Wow, episode 1 done.